The stars looked wrong tonight. Dr. Sarah Bennett noticed it first from her observatory in Chile. The patterns she had studied for 20 years were shifting, not from natural movement, but from something massive blocking the light. Within hours, every telescope on Earth confirmed the same terrifying truth. Ships, hundreds of them, and they were coming closer. Admiral Krenth studied the blue planet below with cold satisfaction. His fleet had traveled 3 months to reach this backwater system, and now the prize hung before him like ripe fruit. Intelligence reports said the humans were primitive, still using chemical rockets and nuclear fission. They had no energy shields, no plasma weapons, no quantum drives. Taking their world would be effortless. "Send the message," Krenth ordered his communications officer. Across Earth, every screen, every radio, every device capable of receiving signals suddenly displayed the same transmission. A tall figure with gray skin and 4 arms appeared, speaking in a language that took computers minutes to translate. "Humans of Earth, I am Admiral Krenth of the Valorian Empire. Your world has been selected for integration into our territory. You have 1 planetary rotation to surrender your governments and military forces. Resistance will result in the elimination of your major cities. Choose wisely." The transmission ended, leaving billions of people staring in shock. President Rebecca Walsh sat in the emergency bunker beneath Washington, surrounded by military advisors and world leaders connected via secure channels. Everyone talked at once, voices rising in panic and anger. "We can't fight them," General Park said, pulling up tactical displays. "Our missiles would be useless against their shields. We have nothing that can reach orbit with enough force to matter." "Then we negotiate," the Chinese premier suggested. "Perhaps we can buy time." "Buy time for what?" President Walsh asked quietly. "They're not here to talk, they're here to conquer." She looked at the faces on the screens, seeing fear and desperation. Humanity had faced wars before, but never against an enemy from the stars. Never against technology that made Earth's best weapons look like stone axes. "We don't surrender," Walsh said firmly. "Send them our response. Tell them Earth is not theirs to take." Admiral Krenth laughed when he received the human reply. Such foolish pride. He had conquered. 12 worlds before this one, each believing they could resist. All had fallen within days. "Begin orbital bombardment positions," he commanded. "Target their military installations first. Show them the cost of defiance." The Valorian ships moved into formation, their weapons charging with enough power to level mountains. But something strange began happening below. The ocean started to glow with a soft blue light that spread like veins across the water. Seismic sensors around the Pacific Rim went crazy, registering movements deep in the Earth's crust. Dr. Bennett watched from her observatory as the light grew brighter. Ancient myths flashed through her mind, stories her grandmother told about guardians who slept beneath the waves. She had always dismissed them as folklore, but now doubt crept into her scientific certainty. In Tokyo, a geologist named Robert Kim noticed the same patterns. The energy signatures matched nothing in his databases. Whatever was happening came from deep below the ocean floor, deeper than humanity had ever explored. "Sir, we're detecting massive energy buildups from the planet's surface," the Valorian sensor officer reported. "Power levels are off scale. I've never seen readings like this." Krenth frowned. "Human weapons." "Negative, sir. The source is natural, or at least not human-made. It's coming from beneath their oceans." Before Krenth could respond, the first bombardment wave launched. Plasma bolts streaked toward Earth's atmosphere, enough firepower to destroy entire cities. Then something impossible happened. The ocean erupted. A shield materialized around Earth, shimmering like northern lights but solid as diamond. The Valorian weapons struck it and simply vanished, absorbed into the barrier without causing any damage. "What is that?" Krenth demanded, his confidence cracking. The ocean continued to rise, water falling away to reveal something enormous underneath. It emerged slowly, deliberately, as if waking from a long sleep. The Guardian stood 50 stories tall, its body formed from living stone that glowed with inner light. Crystalline structures ran along its frame like circuit boards, pulsing with energy that made Valorian sensors scream in overload. President Walsh watched the live feeds in stunned silence. Every camera on the Pacific coast captured the same impossible sight. The being stood in the ocean, water barely reaching its knees, and turned its massive head toward the sky where the alien fleet waited. Then it spoke, not with sound but directly into every human mind on Earth. "I am the Guardian. I have protected this world for 4 million years. The humans are under my watch. Leave now or face consequences beyond your understanding." The voice was old, patient, but carried absolute authority. It felt like standing before a mountain that decided to speak. Admiral Krent's hands shook as he gripped his command chair. In all his years of conquest, he had never encountered anything like this. His sensors showed energy readings that exceeded entire stars. This being could destroy his fleet with a thought. "Admiral, orders?" his tactical officer asked nervously. Krent stared at the Guardian, at Earth, at the impossible situation he found himself in. His pride warred with his survival instinct. The Valorian Empire did not retreat, but the Valorian Empire had never faced something like this. "Charge all weapons," he finally said. "If we're going to die, we die fighting." The Guardian tilted its head, almost sadly, as the alien ships prepared to fire. Every weapon in the Valorian fleet fired at once. The void of space lit up like a supernova as plasma bolts, missiles, and energy beams converged on the Guardian. Enough firepower to crack a planet's crust screamed through the atmosphere. The Guardian raised one massive hand. The attack stopped mid-flight, frozen in space like insects trapped in amber. With a gentle gesture, the being redirected every weapon back toward the emptiness of space, where they detonated harmlessly millions of miles away. "Your aggression is noted," the Guardian's voice echoed in every mind. "But I will not allow you to harm yourselves or this world." Admiral Krent felt sweat running down his neck despite the climate-controlled bridge. His finest weapons had been brushed aside like toys. Whatever this creature was, it operated on a level of power the Valorian Empire had never documented. Down on Earth, Dr. Bennett abandoned her telescope and pulled up every piece of historical data she could find. Ancient texts, archaeological records, geological surveys. Patterns emerged that she had missed before. Unexplained energy signatures throughout history. Mass extinctions that stopped suddenly. Asteroid impacts that mysteriously changed course at the last moment. "It's been here the whole time," she whispered to herself, "protecting us, watching over us." President Walsh received reports from around the world. The Guardian's emergence had triggered responses from ancient sites everywhere. Stone circles in England hummed with energy. Pyramids in Egypt glowed faintly. Temple complexes in Cambodia showed heat signatures. Humanity had built monuments to something they didn't understand, marking the places where the Guardian's power ran strongest. "Get me a channel to that thing," Walsh ordered. "If it can speak in our minds, maybe we can speak back." Scientists worked frantically, trying every frequency, every method of communication they knew. Finally, a young technician named Daniel Ross had an idea. If the Guardian spoke telepathically, maybe they needed to think their response, not transmit it. President Walsh stood before the cameras, focusing her thoughts with every ounce of concentration she possessed. "Guardian, we hear you. We don't understand what you are, but we're grateful for your protection. Please help us understand." The response came immediately, warm and patient like a teacher addressing a student. "I will show you." Images flooded into human consciousness worldwide. Not words, but pure memory. The Guardian revealed its origin, its purpose, its long vigil. 4 million years ago, an ancient race called the Seedkeepers had traveled the galaxy, planting life on suitable worlds. Earth was special, chosen for its perfect conditions and isolation. The Seedkeepers created the Guardian as a fail-safe, a protector that would ensure life could develop without interference. The Guardian had defended Earth from cosmic threats humans never knew existed. Asteroids redirected. Solar flares dampened. Hostile species turned away. Each time the Guardian acted silently, invisibly, letting humanity believe they were alone and vulnerable. This isolation forced humans to develop resilience, creativity, and compassion. You grew stronger by believing you were weak, the Guardian explained. You learned cooperation by thinking you had no protector. You developed wisdom by facing challenges you thought were yours alone. Admiral Krenth received the same visions, and for the first time in his military career, he felt genuine fear. The Seedkeepers were legends, myths told in the oldest Valorian texts. If they were real, if this being truly served them, then he had made a catastrophic mistake. Fleet. Stand down, Krenth ordered quietly. Maintain defensive positions only. His officers looked at him in shock, but obeyed. The Guardian turned its attention fully to the Valorian fleet. When it spoke, Admiral Krenth felt the weight of 4 million years of patience and purpose. You came to conquer believing Earth was defenseless. You saw primitive technology and assumed weakness. This is why you fail to understand the galaxy's true nature. Strength is not measured only in weapons. The Guardian's massive form began to glow brighter. Energy crackled along its crystalline structures, building to levels that made Valorian sensors simply shut down to prevent overload. I could destroy your fleet in seconds. I could atomize every ship without effort. But I will not, because the humans I protect have taught me something the Seedkeepers did not program. They have shown me that mercy matters more than power. President Walsh felt tears on her cheeks. The Guardian was not just protecting humanity, it was learning from them. Robert Kim, the geologist in Tokyo, compared energy readings to the Guardian's output. The numbers were staggering. This being drew power directly from Earth's core, from the planet's magnetic field, from sources human science barely understood. It was not a machine or a weapon. It was something far more sophisticated, a living shield that had grown alongside Earth itself for eons. Guardian, President Walsh thought carefully, what happens now? That depends on you, came the response. I awakened because your world faced existential threat. Now you must decide. I can destroy these invaders, or you can show them the mercy that makes humanity unique. Choose. The weight of that choice pressed down on every world leader. Billions of lives hung in the balance. The Guardian offered them vengeance, offered them safety through violence. All they had to do was say yes. Walsh looked at the faces of her advisors, seeing the same struggle in each expression. Humanity had been attacked, threatened with extinction. They had every right to strike back. But rights and righteousness were not the same thing. We need to discuss this, Walsh said. Guardian, can you give us time? I have waited 4 million years, the Guardian replied gently. I can wait a few more hours. In orbit, Admiral Krenth watched the massive being and wondered if his life would end today. He had led his crews here, had threatened an innocent world, and now faced a power that could erase them all. The emergency session included every nation on Earth. Presidents, prime ministers, kings, and council leaders joined the video conference, their faces showing exhaustion and stress. For 6 hours, they debated while the Guardian waited patiently in the Pacific Ocean, and the Valorian fleet hung motionless in orbit. They tried to destroy us, the Russian premier argued. Showing mercy could be seen as weakness. Other species might see it as an invitation to attack. Or they might see it as strength, replied the Indian Prime Minister. True power is choosing not to use it. President Walsh listened to dozens of opinions, weighing each carefully. Finally, she spoke. The Guardian said we grew strong by believing we were weak. We learned compassion by facing challenges alone. If we order the destruction of that fleet, we throw away everything that makes us human. We become conquerors ourselves. They won't expect mercy, General Park added. In their experience, the strong dominate the weak. Sparing them might shake their entire worldview. A vote was called. One by one, nations cast their decision. When the count finished, the result was nearly unanimous. Humanity chose mercy. President Walsh closed her eyes. and focused her thoughts toward the Guardian. "We've decided. Let them live. Let them return to their empire and tell others what happened here. But make it clear that Earth is protected and any future attacks will be met with your full power." The Guardian's response felt like approval, like pride. "You have passed a test you did not know you were taking. The Seedkeepers created me to protect you, but they also programmed a final evaluation. If humans ever gained the power to destroy their enemies but chose mercy instead, it would prove you were worthy of the legacy they left behind." In orbit, Admiral Krenth received a direct communication in his mind. "Admiral, the humans have decided your fate. Gather your fleet and listen." The Guardian's voice then broadcast to every ship simultaneously. "You came to Earth believing conquest was your right. You saw a world without advanced weapons and assumed it was yours to take. You were wrong on both counts. Earth has been under my protection since before your species learned to use fire. I am the Guardian, last servant of the Seedkeepers, and I will defend this world until the stars grow cold." Krenth's crew listened in terrified silence. "However, the humans I protect have chosen to spare your lives. They could have asked me to destroy you, and I would have obeyed. Instead, they showed you the mercy that defines their species. You will return to your empire and deliver this message. Earth is not available for conquest. Any species that approaches this world with hostile intent will face me." The Guardian raised both arms, and the Valorian ships suddenly found themselves moved, not violently, but gently relocated to the outer edge of the solar system. The entire fleet, hundreds of vessels, transported in an instant without damage. "Go now, tell the galaxy what you learned here." Admiral Krenth slumped in his command chair, his pride shattered but his life intact. Around him, his bridge crew sat in stunned silence. They had been defeated, humiliated, and then shown kindness they did not deserve. The experience would haunt him for the rest of his life. "Set course for home," Krenth ordered quietly, "and begin recording everything. The Empire needs to know what we found here." Back on Earth, the Guardian turned to face the planet it had protected for so long. Its massive form began to glow with softer light. "Humans, you have proven yourselves worthy. Now I will give you gifts, knowledge that will help you join the galactic community as equals rather than victims or conquerors." What happened next would change human civilization forever. The Guardian opened its mind fully, sharing information in ways human brains could barely process. Scientists worldwide received understanding of physics that rewrote textbooks. Engineers found themselves knowing how to build reactors that produced limitless clean energy. Doctors gained insight into medical techniques that could cure diseases thought incurable. But the Guardian was careful. It gave knowledge of sustainable technology, peaceful advancement, ways to grow without destroying. It did not share weapons designs or tools of domination. The gifts pushed humanity forward while staying true to their compassionate nature. Dr. Bennett sat at her computer, watching data stream across her screens. Equations for faster-than-light communication. Blueprints for ships that could traverse the galaxy. Methods to terraform dead worlds into gardens. Each piece of knowledge came with context, with warnings, with guidance on proper use. "It's teaching us," she said in wonder. "Not just giving us technology, but showing us how to use it responsibly." President Walsh addressed the world again, this time with hope replacing fear. "Today we learned we are not alone. We discovered that Earth has been protected since before human civilization began. And we proved that humanity's greatest strength is not our weapons or our technology, but our capacity for mercy and compassion. The Guardian has given us tools to reach the stars, but what we do with those tools will define who we become." The Guardian began to sink back into the ocean, its purpose fulfilled for now. "I return to my rest. The defenses around your world remain active. Any threat to Earth will awaken me again. But you must forge your own path among the stars. Make friends, build alliances, share your compassion with species that have forgotten how. You are ready." As the massive being descended beneath the waves, humanity watched in awe and gratitude. The glowing patterns in the ocean faded slowly, But everyone knew the Guardian was still there, still watching, still protecting. In the days that followed, world governments began working together like never before. The threat from above had unified Earth in ways diplomacy never could. Scientists collaborated across borders, sharing the knowledge the Guardian had provided. Plans were drawn up for humanity's first true starships, vessels that would carry humans to distant worlds not as conquerors, but as explorers. And far away, traveling back to the Valorian Empire, Admiral Krenth wrote his report and wondered how the galaxy would change when they learned the truth about Earth. 3 months later, the Valorian flagship limped into home port. The journey back had been silent, heavy with the weight of failure and revelation. Admiral Krenth stood before the High Council, 7 ancient Valorians who had ruled the Empire for centuries. Their faces showed no emotion as he delivered his report. Earth is protected by a Seedkeeper Guardian. Our fleet was rendered helpless. The humans spared us when they could have destroyed us. I recommend we classify Earth as a forbidden system and warn all Valorian ships to avoid it. The council chambers erupted in shocked whispers. Seedkeepers were myths, stories told to children about ancient gods who shaped the galaxy. If they were real, if their technology still functioned, the implications were staggering. "You expect us to believe this," Council Elder Marath demanded, "that you encountered a legend and it simply let you leave?" "The humans interceded on our behalf," Krenth explained. "They chose mercy over vengeance. It was unlike anything in our military experience." He played the recordings for the council, showing the Guardian's emergence, its casual dismissal of Valorian weapons, its overwhelming power. The council members watched in silence, their skepticism gradually turning to concern. "This changes everything," another elder whispered. "If one Guardian exists, there might be others, protecting other worlds." The news spread through the Valorian Empire and beyond. Within weeks, every spacefaring species in the galaxy knew about Earth. The Galactic Coalition, a loose alliance of civilized worlds, called an emergency summit. President Walsh received the invitation personally, delivered by a holographic messenger who appeared in the Oval Office. "Greetings, human leader. The Coalition wishes to speak with Earth about recent events. We mean no harm, we seek only understanding." Walsh looked at her advisors. This was humanity's first real contact with peaceful aliens. The Guardian had given them the technology to communicate across the stars, but using it was another matter. "Tell them we accept," Walsh said carefully. "But the meeting happens here in our solar system. We're not ready to leave home just yet." 2 weeks later, ships from 40 different species arrived at the designated coordinates near Mars. They came cautiously, respectfully, very aware of what had happened to the Valorian fleet. President Walsh met them via holographic conference, appearing on their bridges while remaining safely on Earth. The coalition representatives were diverse beyond imagination. Some looked almost human. Others were clouds of sentient gas or crystalline structures that communicated through light pulses. A few existed in dimensions human eyes could barely perceive. Ambassador Threll, a 6-legged creature covered in silver fur, spoke for the group. "Humans, we come seeking answers. The Seedkeepers vanished 2 million years ago. Their technology is scattered across the galaxy, mostly dormant and inactive. But you have a functioning Guardian. This makes Earth incredibly significant." "We didn't even know it existed until it saved us," Walsh admitted. "We're learning about our own world's history at the same time you are." A gaseous being named Whisper translated its thoughts into words the computers could interpret. The Seedkeepers believed in guided evolution. They planted life on suitable worlds, then protected those worlds until the species matured. Each Guardian was programmed with different parameters, different tests. Yours activated when you faced extinction, then tested whether you would choose mercy or revenge. "We chose mercy," Walsh said simply. "Which means you passed," Ambassador Threll replied. "The Seedkeepers designed their tests to identify species worthy of joining the greater galactic community. You humans are young, incredibly young compared to most of us, but you've been certified by ancient standards higher than any government or coalition. Dr. Bennett sat in on the meeting, taking notes frantically. Every word these aliens spoke opened new questions about human origins, about Earth's place in the cosmos. "How many other protected worlds exist?" she asked. The coalition representatives looked at each other uncertainly. "We know of 3 others," Whisper answered, "but their guardians never activated. The species there developed space travel without ever facing extinction events. They never learned if they passed the Seedkeeper tests." "What happened to those species?" President Walsh asked. 2 joined the coalition and thrived. 1 became conquerors and eventually destroyed themselves in civil war. The tests matter, Human Walsh. They reveal character. Admiral Krenth attended the meeting as well, though he spoke little. Watching the coalition treat humans with such respect stung his pride. The Valorian Empire had conquered worlds for centuries, had built power through strength and domination. Now this young species, barely able to leave their own planet, commanded more respect than his entire empire. "What happens now?" Walsh asked. "We have the technology to build starships to explore beyond our system, but we're not sure if we should. The galaxy suddenly seems much more complicated than we imagined." Ambassador Threll's expression softened, something like a smile crossing his alien features. "You take your time. The coalition does not pressure new species to join. Some wait centuries before venturing far from home. Others never do. But we offer friendship, trade, and knowledge sharing when you are ready. Earth is welcome among us." "There is one concern," Whisper added. "News of your guardian has spread everywhere. Most species will respect your protection, but some might see it as a challenge. Pirates, criminals, fanatics who believe testing themselves against Seedkeeper technology will bring glory. Your world may face visitors you did not invite." President Walsh felt a chill. Earth had barely survived 1 invasion. Could they handle more? "The Guardian will protect us," she said with more confidence than she felt. "Perhaps," Ambassador Threll agreed. "But the Guardian serves Earth, not individual humans. It defends against extinction-level threats, not smaller dangers. You should prepare to defend yourselves as well." The meeting ended with agreements for future contact, for cultural exchanges, for trade negotiations that would take years to finalize. As the alien ships departed, Walsh turned to her advisors. "We need to build defenses, real ones. The Guardian saved us, but we can't depend on it for everything." 6 months after first contact, Earth transformed. Cities that once competed now collaborated. Resources poured into space development. Using the knowledge the Guardian had shared, human engineers constructed orbital shipyards that would have taken decades with old technology. The first true human warship, named Unity, took shape in Earth's orbit. Robert Kim transferred from geological research to the new Space Defense Initiative. His understanding of the Guardian's energy signatures made him valuable for designing detection systems. If hostile ships approached, humanity would know long before they arrived. "The Guardian's shields create a specific resonance pattern," he explained to the engineering team. "We can build sensors tuned to detect disruptions. It won't tell us everything, but it'll give us warning." Dr. Bennett worked with coalition scientists, learning about alien species and their technologies. She discovered that humans were unusual in dozens of ways. Their emotional range, their capacity for rapid adaptation, their tendency toward cooperation under threat made them unique. "Most species develop slowly," Ambassador Threll explained during one of his visits to Earth. "They grow powerful over millennia, becoming set in their ways. Humans are young but flexible. You haven't had time to become rigid in your thinking." "Is that good or bad?" Bennett asked. "Both. You can adapt to new ideas. Quickly form alliances easily, empathize with species very different from yourselves. But you also lack the caution that comes with age. You might trust too readily, risk too boldly." These conversations worried President Walsh. Earth was making friends among the coalition, but the galaxy contained dangers far beyond governmental alliances. Pirates operated in the spaces between civilized systems. Rogue corporations hunted for Seedkeeper artifacts regardless of who got hurt. And rumors spoke of something called the Collective, a hive-mind species that absorbed other civilizations into itself. The first test came sooner than expected. A pirate gang called the Razor Fleet decided Earth's guardian was myth, propaganda designed to scare away invaders. 20 ships, crewed but heavily armed, jumped into the solar system near Jupiter. "Attention, Earth," their leader transmitted. "We know you've got Seedkeeper tech. Hand it over or we start blowing up your colonies." Humanity had been building mining stations on the Moon and Mars. Hundreds of people lived there, unprotected and vulnerable. President Walsh activated the defense network Robert Kim had designed. "Pirate vessels, you are violating protected space. Leave now or face consequences." The pirates laughed. "What are you going to do? Wake up your imaginary monster? We've faced down coalition warships. We're not scared of human bluffs." They fired warning shots toward the moon base, plasma bolts that would have vaporized the facility. The Guardian's shields activated automatically, absorbing the attacks. But the Guardian itself did not awaken. The threat was real but not existential. These pirates could hurt humanity but not destroy it. "They're testing us," General Park said grimly, "seeing if we can defend ourselves without the Guardian." The Unity was not finished, still missing weapons and armor. But its engines worked and its crew was trained. Captain Ana Rodriguez, formerly of the United States Navy, took command. "All hands, this is the captain. We launch in 5 minutes. Prepare for combat." The ship detached from the orbital dock, its fusion engines blazing blue. Human engineering combined with Seedkeeper principles created something beautiful and terrible. Unity accelerated toward the pirates, broadcasting on all frequencies. "Razor Fleet, this is Earth Defense Ship Unity. You have one chance to leave peacefully." The pirate leader sneered at his screens. "One human ship, this'll be easier than we thought." His confidence lasted exactly 12 seconds. Unity's main weapon was not a gun or missile launcher. Following Guardian principles, it was a directed energy pulse that overloaded electrical systems without destroying ships. The pirates fired, and Unity's shields held. Then Unity fired back. Half the Razor Fleet went dark instantly, their systems fried. Ships tumbled through space, life support barely functioning. The remaining pirates scattered, but Unity was faster. Captain Rodriguez had trained for this moment. Her crew worked in perfect coordination, targeting engines and weapons, disabling ships without killing their crews. The pirate leader tried to run. Unity matched his course and fired again. His flagship went dead, floating helplessly in the void. "Razor Fleet, you are disabled but alive," Rodriguez transmitted. "We'll tow you to the nearest coalition station where you'll face trial. Earth does not execute prisoners. We show mercy even to enemies. Remember this." News of the battle spread across the galaxy faster than the pirates could be transported to trial. Earth had defended itself without the Guardian's intervention. A single human ship defeated an entire pirate gang using weapons designed not to kill but to disable. Other species found this approach bizarre but effective. Ambassador Threll visited President Walsh again, this time with genuine admiration in his voice. "Your ship could have destroyed those pirates. It had the power, but you chose to capture them instead." "They were criminals, not soldiers," Walsh explained. "They deserve justice, not death. The Guardian taught us that mercy matters. Most species would have killed them as a warning to others." "We are not most species." Admiral Krenth watched the battle recordings from his office in the Valorian capital. The human ship moved with confidence and precision. Their tactics showed wisdom beyond their years as a spacefaring civilization. He found himself smiling despite the circumstances. "They learned from us," he told his aide. "Saw how we attacked with overwhelming force and chose a different path. They're not building an empire like ours. They're building something better." "Admiral, the High Council has summoned you." Krenth sighed. The Council had been debating Earth for months, unsure how to classify this strange new species. He suspected they were about to make a decision. The council chambers were filled when he arrived. The elders looked troubled but determined. "Admiral Krenth, your failure at Earth has become our greatest lesson," Council Elder Marith began. "We have watched the humans carefully. They defeated pirates with minimal force. They share technology freely with allies. They seek friendship before dominance. The Valorian Empire has much to learn from them." Krenth stood straighter. "Elders, are you suggesting an alliance?" "We are suggesting something more difficult. We are suggesting we change." 1 year after the Guardian's awakening, Earth prepared for its first diplomatic summit. Ships from across the galaxy gathered in orbit, not as invaders but as guests. The Unity had been joined by 6 sister ships, forming humanity's first proper fleet, but weapons remained powered down in a show of peace. Admiral Krenth arrived aboard a Valorian diplomatic vessel, his military flagship left behind as a gesture of goodwill. President Walsh greeted him personally via hologram. "Admiral, welcome to Earth. I understand you requested this meeting specifically." Krenth nodded, his forearms crossed in a Valorian sign of respect. "President Walsh, I came to Earth a year ago planning conquest. I left humiliated but alive, spared by a species I had tried to destroy. That mercy changed me. It changed my entire empire." He transmitted a document that made Walsh's eyes widen. The Valorian High Council had abolished their conquest doctrine. No more invasions, no more forced integrations. They were restructuring their entire government to focus on peaceful cooperation. "We don't expect forgiveness," Krenth continued. "We hurt too many species over the centuries, but we wanted you to know that your example inspired us to become better." President Walsh felt tears forming. This was what the Guardian had meant. Humanity's strength was not their weapons or their protected status. It was their ability to inspire change through compassion. The summit officially began with representatives from over 60 species. Dr. Bennett presented humanity's first major contribution to galactic science, a new medical treatment developed from combining human genetics research with alien biotechnology. It could cure a disease that had plagued 3 different species for generations. "We share this freely," Bennett announced. "No patents, no trade restrictions. Healing should not be a commodity." The coalition members responded with stunned appreciation. Most species hoarded their discoveries, trading them for advantage. Humans were giving away something priceless. Ambassador Threll approached Walsh during a break in the proceedings. "Your people continue to surprise us. Every species develops differently, but humans seem determined to define yourselves through generosity." "The Guardian protected us for 4 million years, Walsh replied. "It gave us the chance to grow without fear of extinction. The least we can do is help others the same way." Speaking of the Guardian, we detected unusual readings from Earth's Pacific Ocean. Is everything all right? Walsh smiled. "Actually, something wonderful happened. Let me show you." She transmitted sensor data from the previous week. The Guardian had stirred briefly, not to defend against threat, but to communicate directly with human scientists. It shared more knowledge, this time about sustainable energy and environmental restoration. Earth's climate problems, pollution issues, resource depletion, all had solutions now. "The Guardian is teaching us," Walsh explained. "Not just protecting us but guiding us. It seems pleased with humanity's progress." In the Pacific Ocean, deep below the surface, the Guardian rested but remained aware. It monitored every ship in orbit, every conversation at the summit. Humanity was exceeding the Seedkeeper's expectations. They had taken gifts of technology and used them wisely. They had faced threats and chosen mercy. They were becoming exactly what the ancient race had hoped for. The summit concluded with the formation of new alliances. Earth joined the Galactic Coalition officially, granted full membership despite being barely a year into space travel. The vote was unanimous. But the greatest moment came from an unexpected source. A species called the Architects, known for their xenophobia and isolation, requested a private meeting with President Walsh. Their representative, a being of pure light named Loomis, spoke with obvious difficulty. Humans, we have watched you carefully. Our species was tested by a guardian 5 million years ago. We failed. We chose vengeance over mercy, and our guardian went dormant permanently. We have regretted that choice ever since. Walsh listened with growing understanding. You came here seeking a second chance. We came seeking hope. If humans can pass the test, perhaps redemption is possible for others. Your example shows that failure is not permanent. President Walsh thought carefully about her response. The weight of representing humanity, of speaking for an entire species, pressed down on her, but she knew what to say. Everyone deserves a chance to change. The Valorian Empire is transforming itself. Pirates who attacked us are being rehabilitated instead of executed. If ancient mistakes can be forgiven, then work with us. Help us build a galaxy where compassion matters more than conquest. Loomis brightened visibly, light pulsing with what might have been emotion. Thank you, we will try to earn this opportunity. As the summit ended and ships departed, Earth settled into its new role as a galactic citizen. Schools began teaching alien languages. Universities offered programs in xenobiology and interstellar diplomacy. Children who grew up thinking humans were alone in the universe now dreamed of exploring distant worlds and making alien friends. Robert Kim continued his research, finding new ways to understand the Guardian's technology. Dr. Bennett led cultural exchange programs. Captain Rodriguez commanded humanity's growing defense fleet, protecting not just Earth but trade routes threatened by criminals. And Admiral Krenth, once a conqueror, became Earth's most vocal advocate in the Valorian Empire. He traveled to conquered worlds his people had hurt, offering apologies and reparations. The work would take generations, but it had begun. President Walsh stood in the Oval Office late one night, looking at the stars through her window. Somewhere out there, the Guardian watched over Earth, patient and eternal. Somewhere else, species who heard about humanity's choice were reconsidering their own paths. A communication came through her private channel, the Guardian itself speaking directly to her mind. You have done well, human leader. The Seedkeepers created me to protect Earth until its people were ready to protect themselves and others. That day has arrived. I will always defend against extinction, but your species no longer needs constant watching. You have graduated. Walsh felt pride and humility in equal measure. Thank you, Guardian. We'll try to honor the trust you and the Seedkeepers placed in us. You already have. Now go forward and teach other species what you have learned. Show them that the strongest civilizations are built not on weapons, but on compassion. This is humanity's true purpose among the stars. The communication ended, leaving Walsh alone with her thoughts and the infinite